We are live. So we will call the meeting to order at 6:31. And any conflicts of interest that are known? Okay. Any additions to the agenda?
Just telephone wiring, if you want to speak about that.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Karen. Just,
Dan has some additions to the budget.
yes, and we definitely, the budget's here. So do we want to add just a brief discussion on kind of what may or may not have happened here yesterday, just to get an update from Karen? So we'll put that down after number 11. We get time, so it's okay.
There's two different personnel.
Okay, so we have two things under executive session. Okay. I'm going to remember something.
Listers.
That's on the budget piece, so we'll get to that with.
Policy, perhaps?
We'll put that on here in case we have time to get to it. Does that make sense? Is that good with Lena and Bill?
Yep.
Okay. Any other items? We have the town reports on here, so. Okay, if there's no other additions to the agenda, we'll go to public comments. I don't think we received any public comments. The only thing we did receive, we received something from the Rices, but that's on the agenda later. So, oh, yeah, do you have anything?
Yeah, no comments from all of us.
Okay, excellent, good. Thank you, Kelly, for reminding me. Thank you. And feel free to come up and join us if you want. I mean, we're pretty informal.
Yep.
The more the merrier. So the next is to approve the minutes, and Karen had sent those out, I believe, correct?
Yes, I sent all the minutes out. You said you had revisions, but I could not open them, and I don't know which ones they were.
I just had one, is that you switched Kelly and I around to who was gonna talk to Rick and who was gonna talk to your shares regarding the drug segment.
Which one, which meeting was
That would have been the last meeting.
Last meeting.
So the 24th, right? Are those the only minutes we have to approve is the 24th?
No, the 18th to 21st, you should probably approve as the water board, and your 21st select board meeting here, which you had to leave from, and the 24th. So
Okay.
three sets and one water board set.
Okay. I'm just trying to remember. I know you sent them, Karen, I know. Does anybody have them or want to make a motion on them? We'll start with the ones from the 18th.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
So January 18th approved. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I guess that means nobody's opposed because everybody voted aye. And then to Karen's point, we do have two sets of minutes from, well, I guess they're all in the same document, but, or are they?
No.
They're in
No.
separate documents.
Separate documents.
Okay, yep. So first we'll start with the water board meeting minutes from January 21st. I don't believe I had read through them. I don't think there was any comments. Does anybody have any comments? Motion on the water board meetings from the 21st. Elena moved to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Billy seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent, so those are approved. And then the select board meeting on the 21st. That, I wasn't here for that portion of it, so
Kelly ran it.
did you guys, were there any comments or anything on those meeting minutes? Okay.
On the 21st is written.
Kelly moved to approve, is there a second?
Second.
Emma seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And those are approved. And we really were meeting every 3 days. Because the next is the meeting minutes from the 24th. And Karen, I do apologize because you sent those and I did have comments and I guess I didn't figure out
They can wait.
the Google Drive piece. No, what, I can just, and it sounds like Lena had comments as well, if you're okay taking them right now.
Okay.
Lena, do you want to go ahead first?
It was just that part, you had Kelly and I switched, she was talking to Rick and I was talking to her share regarding the roadside.
And I had one under public comment, Karen, was just that we did read the email from Bob Vernier thanking the road crew, in addition to the one from Mr. Harrington. I had one more, just under budget discussions, water budget, sewer budget, was just that no rates had changed since 2017. I think, yeah, the rest were. Oh, and there was, down under number 14, the last paragraph was a repeat, so I just struck the whole thing where it says Kevin spoke about Otter Creek. You covered it up above.
We'll strike that.
Were there any other comments or edits on the minutes from the 24th? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes from the meeting of the 24th
With revisions.
with revisions.
Second.
Kelly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Cool, so we've got it through meeting minutes. Budget. Gail, do you want to finish this?
Finish what?
The budget? Yeah.
Yeah.
You think we should?
I think we're done.
I think we're done.
We made some good improvements here, so. I talked to our accountant, Chad, he helps us on these sometimes, and he suggested we put 4,000 in the interest. We usually have something in there, for some reason we missed it. So if everybody's all right with that? And the recording, he said since interest rates are high and everything is going high, there probably will not be a lot of sales. So we've lowered that to 9, does that sound all right, Karen? Okay.
Gail, can I just, the other one was the school tax billing fee. I think we added 4,000 back in there
yep.
as well, is that correct?
Yes. There are some changes in the actuals. We made some adjustments today to move the money where it should be. And this school billing fee is what we charge to process their taxes. And they don't actually pay it to us. We just, it's a wash kind of thing. When I pay them, if I overpay them, they pay us back. But $4,000 is a percentage of whatever the taxes are. So, anyway, we estimate it, because we don't know for sure till July what everything should be. So we put 4,000, and last year it was 45. Okay, and then we have surplus, but he suggested we just put 60,000, and that helped bring the budget down a lot. So,
So that's, and I'm gonna test whether or not I was listening right when I was with you the other day. So if we take last year's total revenue minus the total amount that we expended, there's actually somewhere in the order of magnitude, and that's just general fund, of magnitude of about $190,000 surplus. But as Gail explained to me, part of that is because there's bills from December that get paid in January that will be.
lower it some, but I mean, we do have excess. We have the ARPA money in there, and we had taxes that we collected a lot of taxes that were past due from 21.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not really extra because those people didn't pay in 21, so we were short in 21. Not necessarily, but in theory, so.
Right, but it was still a pretty substantial bump
Yeah.
in terms, $216,000 worth of delinquent taxes were collected. So, anyway, so it's,
And you can't put it all in there because you just can't.
the number's not exact, but we had a pretty sizable surplus. And as Gail explained to me, we'll carry 60,000 of that forward as revenue in this fiscal year that we're in for this budget. And then the rest will just go into the general fund account once the budget's reconciled. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to speak for you. I'm trying to.
No, that's fine.
I'm testing to know if I actually listened and I actually learned.
Okay. Sorry.
But that's huge in terms of, and we'll come to it later on. But I think we all had this, we raised a bunch of things and it was like,
Right.
that's
We were
huge at offsetting some of the things that we
were
raised.
at a 20% increase, so we got it down to 4. Phyllis had sent a letter, or email, and Warren's getting off the lister thing. So someone is interested in being trained. So there's a lot of meetings and stuff that you have to train. She's gonna have to spend extra hours with Phyllis so she understands, because the computer stuff is, it's very involved. So it's gonna take some extra hours. So she suggested if we could put it back up to 10,000. She knows we didn't in the last couple of years use it, but she was the only one working. But if she's gonna have 2 people, her and somebody else working, and she's got to train them, and you got to be on the job to train. So she feels that she would feel more comfortable if it was 10.
This was the only one doing it on the computer,
Pretty
right?
much, yeah. So would that be fine?
I would support cross-training.
Is everybody good
Absolutely.
with bumping that back up to 10,000?
Yep.
Okay. And we didn't ask, but is everybody good with that putting that $60,000 number in for the surplus as well? Okay.
Okay, and I did figure this stuff so we can move along here. All right. All right, I forget what we had in here before, but, he suggested upping this because we weren't very much over, or maybe we were at 30, I can't remember.
We were at 30 at the
30.
last budget.
And he suggested, things are going up, so, and we were already over, so we added a little there. This, we were way down, so he suggested we lower that a little bit. Kind of a wash, but,
Yeah, because I think the municipal solid waste was at 30.
yeah, so.
And I think the recycling was actually at 32 or, something,
Yeah.
so it's
So it's
pretty
not
close
too
to the.
much.
Yeah.
So if everybody's good with that? Okay.
So Gail, can we just pause at the totals on the general fund, just to,
Oh, yeah.
just so that we all kind of,
Yeah, and actually I have to adjust the top number, so this is a 0, but I can do that.
so we're back at 7th. I gotta change something, I guess, because I'm off by 2,000, but we're at, Gail, the only question I have is, when we change that 8,000 to 10,000, does that automatically update this total?
It'll update these totals. It just doesn't, I have to bring this up to the amount of taxes raised.
Oh, okay, gotcha, okay. So, Gail's and mine are off by 2,000, but just generally, the total general government expenditures are up 4.04% from last year. So that's the expenditure side of things, and then once we take the revenue in, we'll come to that later, but just, and one thing that Gail pointed out to me as well is that one of the things we didn't have in this year's budget, because or what we had been looking at budget was there was an additional $30,000 that was passed at town meeting last year for the administrative assistant, and that wasn't in these prior numbers. So bringing that up, you know, I guess helps, if you will, in terms of just that comparison, this year's budget to last year's budget. I don't know if it helps, but it isn't, the percent increase isn't as drastic. So,
Oh, this should be a 0 here. Let me go back up.
if you go to listers, Gail,
Yep, let me just,
sorry.
back that up here. All right, listers. Okay.
15,715, is that the total on that one? I thought I just had it wrong, so,
Yeah. no.
okay, all right, yep.
Okay, so, I don't know why that's not changing. I'll have to check that. Oh, there it goes. Okay.
Yeah, you were still in that
Oh,
last box, that's
that's
why.
why, okay. All right, so, did you want to say something else about this, or your numbers match?
No, it's good, it's good.
Okay.
I won't worry if my numbers match exact
Okay.
at this point. I'll fix them.
Yeah. Okay, so fuel reimbursement, we did get 12,000 in last year, prices were up, so we thought it wouldn't hurt to raise that a little bit more. I think we had 6 in there. So,
Yep. And I think that might even, we might have even talked about that one at the last meeting, maybe.
yeah. And then he suggested that we have a matching fund with 35,000 in it. He says, why not use it? So this is that money here. We'll take out the matching fund for the sidewalk grant. So that way, it's all covered. We get, this
So-
is our
Yeah.
match.
So down
Yeah.
below, the sidewalk is 56,400, and then there's, it tripped me up, and then Gail explained it to me. The state grant sidewalks, which is just above, is what we'll get from the state, the 28,200, and then we'll transfer from a different fund, the 28,200 to match.
Yeah, so it's not like we're taking any out of the budget,
Right.
but it shows. Okay, now, the highway. A little concern here. We had the 175,000, and Chad thought that might be a little extreme. So, he kind of figured, you know, probably we're not gonna hire 2 people right off, full-time. So if Paul ends up staying the whole year, or even through the summer, you're gonna have a half-time person. So we really didn't need the 175.
Right.
And we lowered the health insurance to 2.5 people, just in case for half a year.
So our goal is like 2.75.
Is that right, people?
Or,
Well, I think our ultimate goal is 3 down the road,
Right.
long term.
Okay.
Paul
Sorry.
agrees.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's been adjusted for that.
yeah, so
Okay.
this is the health insurance, we did 2.5 people there. And then these figures here are just what it would be if you felt you wanted to raise it a little bit more on either of these. I just figured them up so we wouldn't have to deal with that while we're doing it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the way I was thinking about it was like, let's budget for 3 full-time people, but we're at February 1st, and we've got to advertise, and I mean, we're gonna be 3 months into the year before we even hire the second full-time person. Plus Paul isn't full-time, so it
Right.
well, ultimately, the number that we had, which was 175, would be in future years, if we end up with 3 full-time people, more what the budget would be. So we're somewhere in between that.
My only thing would be is how much overtime is Rick putting in now that we're a man down?
Well, we did add 3,000 to that.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
was gonna say, because we're down to 3 people, but he's doing the job of 2, so we're still
Yeah.
paying somebody.
That's a good point.
Yeah, because we're already at 25, and last year at this time we were at 19, I think. So.
When Gail and I talked the other day, I guess part of my mindset was like, maybe we go midway in between 145 and 175, and at least, and we still might be over budgeting a little bit, but to Lena's point, with overtime and, and I don't think there's a wrong number we can pick.
No. So, I mean, if you wanted to go to 155, we could. It's up to you.
I mean, I guess my opinion is I'd rather have the money there, and we never know what's gonna happen, you know?
Yeah. And depending on what kind of raise.
I'd rather make
No,
sure we're
that's the
covered.
thing. I think we should plan for a little more, so we kind of have some room to work with as far as hiring people and what we're going to end up paying them.
So does 155 seem like I mean, last year we spent 115,000,
Right.
and we went 2 months, I think, at the end of the year without one full-time person, so.
Actually, 1 month, because he worked until.
Oh, okay.
I think it was an easy spring and an easy fall, right?
I don't think mud season was easy,
No,
but
come on.
summer and fall.
I was thinking winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think we should put in for a number there?
I think 155.
Yeah, I'm happy with 155.
Okay.
Could we just go back up to the sand? Sorry, I know we kind of passed it, but
Put this in so I don't forget.
I think the price on sand is up, and I know we went down because we always have some leftover. But I just didn't know, I just happened to talk to Rick, and he says that he's sanded more this month than he has, like he sanded almost every day this month, so, that just worries me if we're using a little bit more.
Sure. So, and I'm sorry, Larry, I just want to make sure. So we were good with the salaries piece.
Yeah,
I just
sorry.
wanted to make sure. And was there anything between there, Gail, and when we get down to the sand?
No, the only thing
Okay.
we did do is move the leaf blower expense to equipment down below, just because it was all payment, it wasn't repair, so.
I thought we went down on sand, did we not?
Right.
I think we went down.
I'm sorry, where's that?
Um,
Where was it originally?
It was originally up here on leaf blower. And you probably don't have the line item in there, because I had to add one. So I'll send this to you.
Okay,
But,
cool. All right.
but yeah, it's See right there. So I just add, I put it under grants and aid equipment. So, back to this.
Sorry, Lynn, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I guess we didn't end up going down in the sand. I just wanted to make sure we didn't, because I knew we'd talked a little bit about,
Somehow feels like we just made like our first.
I think you should say in the motion, with the amount to be raised by taxes, and make the language correct to the motion. Sorry. So say, the number
what's
you
the
said, and
amount
then
to be
add
raised by taxes?
1,205,000.
205.
Yeah.
Build one last year?
Well,
We
it
just
just
said
says
Article
discuss
One, we
Article
discussed
one.
whatever
Or discuss
Article
Article
One
two.
was. People stood up, said, I'm running for this, I'm running for that.
And I think that might be where I'm confused, because for me, in my mind, the public information meeting was, and I think we talked about, one was for the candidates, and two was for the board to give information on the budget that people.
Not necessarily, that's supposed to happen at the floor vote, but if you want to talk about it, you can talk about anything you want at your meeting.
Right, and that's where I was getting to, the agenda for the meeting.
Well, you guys can set that, because you're the select
Yeah.
board. You could do it.
Right, that's, so.
Put something together.
I was just, I guess maybe for us is clarifying the intent of the public information meeting and what it is that we feel should happen at the public information meeting.
Right. You want what will happen, you want to know what's going to happen for you, so you want an agenda in front of you.
Well, right, and we just want to make sure we set expectations for people if they come. This is what we're going to be talking about. And so I guess, does the board have a preference of, at the public information meeting, what we'd have as an agenda? I'm guessing because it's a meeting that we'll all be at, we need to have an agenda, right? Technically?
Yeah.
Look at last year's.
Legally, I'm just
She
going to say.
just read what we did
Yeah,
last time.
legally, anything that's on an Australian ballot where you wouldn't get to talk about it on a floor vote, you're supposed to have an Australian ballot for that. You're supposed to have an informational meeting for Australian ballot issues. In Chelsea, we've got officers and public questions, but there is no public question on the warning this time.
Nope.
So really, you can have it for officers, and you can talk about whatever you want to talk about, but like, technically, it's for the Australian ballot thing,
So
question.
we're required to have one
Yes.
on Australia. ballot.
Although Karen thinks not for officers.
Well, I guess the question I have is,
Yes, by whoever sent us that email today, Baxter, somebody.
From Karen.
Baxter,
Inquirer.
yeah. So the officers could, the pursuing office candidates could speak, and then could we open up the floor to public comments?
I'll be back.
and the question I have is, do we feel as a board that we want to at least go through some talking points on the budget, just so that there may be some people that come to the public.
Right.
My thought was, there may be people that can come on a Thursday at 6:30 to a public information meeting, and
Right.
they may not be able to make it to town meeting, but it might be nice that we at least tell them what the budget would be that's, you know.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I agree.
An
I think it's going to
opportunity.
be important to talk about some of the increases.
Right. Even if you can't be there at town meeting because you're working or whatever, at least if you wanted to come, you could come hear about the budget so you were at least informed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So in my mind, I'm processing, so you guys tell me if I'm, the agenda will be Article 1 candidates. And give the candidates an opportunity to speak. And then 2 would be public questions.
But there's none. You don't need to.
Well, I'm differentiating the public questions I'm saying if the public had any questions of the candidates.
Okay.
So maybe public
It's just, you just write
comments.
discussion on Article 1,
Yeah.
discussion. Yeah.
Well, and I guess maybe would we do Article 1 candidates, the other second one on the agenda would be a budget update or a budget, call it budget presentation. And then the third thing on the agenda would be discussion. Is that, and I'm just throwing these things out there, if you guys.
Yes.
You don't even
I
need a
agree.
third thing.
Yeah.
'Cause- I mean,
Well, I mean, on our agenda here is we have public comments.
right,
And we give the public a chance to comment. And so I'm suggesting at what is technically a select board meeting, that's also a public information meeting, we put something on there that says, I guess maybe we should just put public comments.
yeah, that, yeah.
Yes,
Is that-
I agree.
Yep.
So we've got our agenda done, I guess, if you will, for the public information meeting. Marion, do you have what you need for the town report?
Yeah, it's gonna be Thursday, March 2nd, at 6:30 PM in the Chelsea Town Hall. Informational meeting to discuss Article 1 officers. Yeah, that's it. And then for the annual town meeting, this is not a warning, this is just so they open the book and they go, oh, this is when I'm supposed to go to the town hall. Tuesday, March 7th at 10 AM in the Chelsea Town Hall, and then floor vote on, I just need the article numbers from their budget issues on articles, whatever they're gonna be. And then it'll just say Australian ballot. I don't know how you're gonna
I
make them come, I mean,
I'm gonna try. I think what you're saying is there a reason we can't put the three things that we just agreed would be on the agenda for the public information meeting in the town report, so that when people see it, they see they're gonna talk about candidates, they're gonna talk about the budget, and then there's gonna be public comments. Is there a reason we can't put that in the town report?
no, but that's the agenda. This is just like a save the date thing. Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could put a little rough draft of the agenda in there if you wanted to.
If it was just those two additional,
Yeah.
I'll let others speak.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, what do you want to say? After informational meeting to discuss Article 1 officers,
Budget presentation,
budget presentation by select board?
sure. And then opportunity for public comments.
Well, okay. That's okay. It's kind of a given, but okay.
It's an ad and it's gonna cost you money, and if you wanna do that,
It's
that's
your,
fine.
well,
I thought
you're
this was
paying.
in the town report.
It
Well, that
is,
does too.
yeah. Budget presentation by select board.
Are you
Maybe we're
paying
talking
for
about
it?
different things, because I
No,
didn't
this
think
is
we were
the-
talking about
Just the-
an ad. I thought we were talking about what was going in the town report.
It is,
So-
it is.
Okay,
The warning
I thought
has
we
to
talked
have
about
different
the ad.
Oh,
language.
okay, okay. Got it.
Budget
Cool.
presentation
All
by
right, cool.
select board, and then, I'm sorry, Kevin, what, but after budget presentation by select board, then you wanted public discussion?
Public
Or-
comments.
Public comments? Okay,
Is that, I don't want to speak just for myself. Does that make sense to everybody?
okay.
So is that good with what we need for the information, our agenda item tonight on the information meeting discussion? Is there anything else that we need for that?
Well, you need to make a warning. 10 days prior to March 2nd, within the 10 days prior to March 2nd.
Right. Which we'll just
You
need
don't
to
have to
do.
do it tonight.
Well, right, it sounds like we're pretty good with the agenda. I could draft the agenda so that we can, for our next meeting, we can, okay.
Yeah.
Do we want to come back to the town meeting warning? Karen, how do you want to?
Well, first, I just, you know, it would, I couldn't get the numbers before tonight, so I'd like somebody to read through it before you vote it.
Do we want to just read it out loud now so
You
that?
can if you'd like,
do-
and then if anything
Not
needs
that
to
I'm
be
a-
changed, just let me know and we'll do that before you sign it.
Not that I'm a great reader out loud, but do you want me to read it out loud?
You're like that.
What's that?
You're like that.
I need my glasses. All right, so it says warning, Town of Chelsea Annual Town Meeting, March 7th, 2023. The legal voters of the Town of Chelsea are hereby warned and notified to meet in the Chelsea Town Hall in Chelsea on March 7th, 2023. This says from 9 a.m., but we said 10.
Yes, but that's for your Australian ballot.
Oh, okay, sorry. Thank you. From 9 a.m., I need to finish reading before I comment, yeah, sorry. From 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. to vote by Australian ballot on the following articles. Article 1, to elect the following officers: Town Moderator, 1-year term; Delinquent Tax Collector, 1-year term; Select Board, 3-year term; Select Board, 2-year term; Select Board, 1 year's remaining of a 3-year term; Lister, 3-year term; Cemetery Commissioner, 5-year term; Trustee of Public Funds, 3-year term; Trustee of the Public Library, 2-year of a 5-year term. So that's the Australian ballot piece. Thanks, Karen. Then the next says, the legal voters of the Town of Chelsea are hereby warned and notified to meet in the Chelsea Town Hall in Chelsea on March 7th, 2023 at 10 a.m. to transact the following business from the floor. Article 2, shall the Town of Chelsea vote to raise appropriate and expend this, to raise appropriate and is that, did I get that right? To appropriate,
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, see, I told you.
Sitting here going, did I-
Appropriate and expend this, sorry.
Sorry.
Somebody else want to read this? To raise, appropriate, and expend the sum of $2,000 for the support of the Chelsea Spotlight newsletter to provide services to town residents of town. That's Article 2. Article 3, shall the town voters authorize the expenditures for the not-for-profit service agencies as recommended by the appointed select board in the amount of $14,240 as shown in the 2023 budget. Appropriations, Central Vermont Adult Basic Education, $1,000, Central Vermont Council on Aging, $1,250, Chelsea Farmers Market, $1,000, Chelsea Senior Center, $3,000, Clara Martin Center, $2,040, Everybody Wins Vermont, $500, Good Beginnings Central Vermont, $100, Green Up Vermont, $100, Orange County Restorative Justice, $350, Orange County Parent-Child Center, $1,500, Safeline, $1,000, Tri-Valley Transit, $1,600, the Art Bus, $800.
Should be arts with an S, is it?
Arts Bus, thank you. It is. Article 4, to see if the voters shall approve the total general fund expenditures of $1,495,976, of which $1,205,000 shall be raised by taxes and $495,591 by non-tax revenue. Article 5, to see if the voters shall place its tax bills in the hands of the town treasurer for collection. Article 6, to see if the voters shall establish a due date of November 1st, 2023 for payment of town and state education taxes, establish a penalty of 8% for taxes not paid for or postmarked by the due date, establish a monthly interest charge of 1% for taxes unpaid after the due date. Dated this, and I guess this would be today, we would write in, dated this 31st day of January 2023 by the Select Board members of the Town of Chelsea, and it has all of us listed, and then it says received for recording this blank day of January 2023, Karen J. Lathrop, Town Clerk. That's our warning. And if we're good with that, Karen, we just need to sign it, is that correct?
Make a motion to
Oh, thank you.
approve it as read.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the town warning as read.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Is that you seconded it? Thank you.
No, I'll use the pen you use, Karen, the 31st day, and then we just all will pass around to sign. Does Jeff need to sign it?
No, he does not have to sign it.
But we can see if he can come in and,
If he would like to come in and sign it,
okay,
as long as you have a majority.
okay.
they gotta be the same pen or?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Huh? No.
oh, thank you.
I got pen
Well,
in hand.
keep me busy while,
So can I just take this opportunity while you guys are signing to say then in the annual town meeting, it'll say floor vote on Articles 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and Australian ballot vote on Article 1, officers, under the, on the inside front cover there.
of the town report?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
that makes sense to me, does it to others?
Yep.
great.
Oh, there goes, here you go, Karen. Thank you, Karen. Oh, this is just the backup, is that what you got?
Taxes I have to, federal taxes I have to send in.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, I hadn't seen this, so this is the hours that,
Yeah.
that get submitted.
And instead of getting overtime, he's taking 20 of it comp time. And then he can either use that, or if he doesn't get time to use it, he
Gotcha,
pays.
okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Oh, okay. So that's like a one-time,
As she collects.
or
the
as she
hours.
collects them, she gets, okay. Gotcha.
Water, sewer.
Oh, okay. Cool. Sorry. Is it okay to move around on the agenda? I'm just thinking, because we just did the orders and we signed off on them, should we just skip down and take care of the orders? Does that make sense to everybody? Is it okay if we skip around a little bit?
Sure.
Is everybody okay with that? Is there a motion on the orders?
Make a motion that we approve the orders.
Second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome. Town report review, Mary Ann.
Okay, we did the warning, town report's gonna, I believe all the rest of the necessary papers can be sent in tomorrow, or, yeah, pretty soon. So I'm just waiting for the dog report, the budget, the dog licenses, the budget, and then the select board report from 2022, which I have a draft of, but Jeff needs to approve that. I sent in the Nolan LaFrancis stuff. It's all, it's well in hand now, and now that you've got the warning done, I think we'll get it done this week. So you should be, a proof should be coming out. Well, I don't know, like a couple days, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday of next week?
Is the select board report what Jeff is writing?
Yeah,
Okay. And he has to approve it?
yeah, I've got a draft, but he does.
Is it kind of signed by all of us, or?
I don't think it can be because you guys weren't the select board for 2022. I mean,
I think only.
I don't know how
I
you
don't-
want to do
yeah,
that.
I was just
It
asking.
has been in previous years when the select board had been, the whole select board throughout the year. But he signed it by himself the previous year. Last year, 4 of them signed it. I mean, it,
Did he write it, or did you write it?
well, he's editing it. And Casey wrote part of it.
So you and Casey wrote the select board report?
It's just a chronology, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can look at the draft, I mean, I want Jeff to,
I just
I
thought
want
Jeff
Jeff's
was
approval.
writing it. I thought we had agreed at a meeting that Jeff was writing it.
He is writing it. I helped him with the draft. He's changing it.
Okay.
I mean, do folks have an opinion on that? I mean, I don't have a strong one either way. I mean, technically, it is the select board's report for 2022, and we got elected on what, January 3rd?
Right.
So,
He can send you a draft, if he, to look at it, I guess, if he, I mean, I don't know, it's kind of uncharted territory.
I mean, I would appreciate seeing a draft, just to know what's in it, you know what I
Okay.
mean? Like, whether our name's under it or not, we're the current select board, and it will be somewhat of a reflection potentially on us, you know? So, I mean, I would appreciate just seeing it. I don't know how others feel.
Well, Jeff can probably, I can call him tomorrow and have him forward it.
Okay.
After he agrees. Or after he might, I don't know, he might change it. Before he shows it to you, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay. So if you don't,
Yeah, either Marion or I can call him tomorrow,
Okay.
she'll be in.
I don't, how do others feel about that?
No, I'd like to see.
Okay.
So it's gonna
There's
depend if
actually-
I'm signing it or not, quite frankly.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, how do, I guess,
actually 2 pages, Casey wanted the one is about the pellet stove, and it just, thank you to the Vermont Arts Council, and it's a special thank you thing
okay.
that she wrote.
So in terms of, just to remind us, again, Marion, at our last meeting, you said there'd be a proof, and then I think we talked about, okay, us reviewing it, or like,
Well, the PDF will be emailed to all of you, and, ideally, you would read all through it. I mean, to make, in case there's a little typo or something, you want to make changes, we can pick up changes before it goes to press.
okay.
So Casey's going to read it, I'm going to read it, probably Gail and Karen will, read it, but you
Okay.
guys can too, of
So
course.
when do you need approval of the proof? Like, and you talk through the timeline.
Read it the same day, ideally, or 2. But the
You
timeline.
talk through the timeline of when it has to go back
Okay.
to get printed, so I just wanted to make sure.
As fast as we can get it in the queue, but the queue to printing after like a couple days. It was last year it was like 1 day, 2 days maybe. I think we had 2 rounds of revisions last year, but
Okay. Do you have it with you? You had a date where you said, hey, it's got to go back to the printers on such and such a date.
I like it on the 6th was the ideal thing. So if you send in all of the stuff to pre-press by the 6th, it does matter how fast you proof it, but they say like we want 2 weeks. I didn't build a lot of cushion into
Right.
the cushion there, so ideally you could just, it's an easy reading, one night. Be fun.
Yeah. I
I
mean, I
mean,
look
you-
forward to
you know,
reading it.
I don't
I don't know if
know.
I'll get through it in a night, but.
So I think I read the prose part, I can't, the budget, like all those numbers, I'm not gonna, Gail will read, I can't check that part, so,
I think at the last meeting, I was looking back at the minutes, Kelly, you would suggested breaking up into sections. Do we want to do that? Or do we want to agree tonight? Like, I don't know how we break the sections up, but.
I'll just send it to all of you, and it'll be a link, and you'll just, actually, I could, well, I don't know, I could print it out. Get a paper ones. Last year's select board
Do we know
wanted.
how many pages approximately?
Last year was 50
Well, we
something.
changed it to 600, how many pages? 80 or 70 pages?
So can we just,
Last year
We
was,
don't know
last year
exactly
was
though until the
56.
pre-press does it.
yeah,
Last year was 56.
So then maybe I said 60, but I
Okay.
don't know. I can't remember. It's gonna be a little bit more this year probably. But we're taking we had 700 of them printed last year, we're only having 600 printed this year. We've had a lot of extras, we have boxes of them extra for the past
Oh,
couple of
really?
years, so
Oh,
we,
okay.
we decided to put down the amount.
Okay.
Can we just assign out pages? Like,
Yeah, how do you guys
If
want
we
to?
think
like
it's
15
15
apiece?
apiece.
Yeah,
And then read the whole thing in your spare time, but you're like really
right,
responsible for
these are
those?
your real,
So do you just want to take the first 15,
We-
move down, and are we gonna include
Jeff.
Jeff?
You guys really, okay, I mean, I'll proof the appropriations reports and stuff, I don't, the budget really is the thing that you guys are, fiscally responsible for. Do you know what I mean?
So I would think we would do that, include that in whatever our pages fell.
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, everybody look at the budget.
I'm happy to do the first portion if you want, like, and I'm looking at last year's, which gets through kind of the select board and some of the town officer stuff and the budget stuff up front. And then we get into other sections. I don't know how we want to do it. What's that? If we knew the page, we don't know the page
We
numbers.
don't know
obviously,
yet, but
so-
we will when
Yeah.
we have the index,
Yeah.
by the time you get the PD, I mean, I could just take 20 pages, 20 pages, 20 pages and just assign you guys, whatever, I mean. Or, split into 5, divide it to 5 pieces.
We can just,
Yeah, we could, I mean,
We'll
that's
figure
something
it
we
out.
can email each other and be like, hey, I'll take pages 1 through 18. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not, that isn't a violation of open meeting law, I don't think, saying, hey, I'm gonna review these pages and those pages.
yeah.
We'll just, do we wanna leave here tonight just saying that we'll group them in some particular order though? Like I'll take the first section,
Yeah, that's
you
fine.
know,
Why don't we do it in order?
Billy wanna
Which
take
is
the second section,
third, and I'll
Kelly
take
takes the
middle.
third, and Lena takes the fourth, is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think we can cover it without Jeff, since he's trying to recover.
Yeah, I
He
would-
doesn't need to.
Yeah, and I emailed him back today and just said, hey, if you get a chance, give me a call. I didn't call him tonight because I didn't want to bug him if he was resting, but if I do talk to him, or if anybody talks to him, we can just say, hey, this is how we did it, but if you want to take a piece, let us know.
Yep.
Anything else on the town report, Marianne?
I think we're pretty good. I think I'm gonna put the, Noel and LaFrancis thing with the Prudential, on the Prudential page, because Prudential's kind of small, and I'm gonna stick it together on that page, if it works with the pre-press. I mean, there's nothing, we'll just see how she does it. I think it's gonna be pretty much the same as last year.
That's the type of thing that wouldn't fit, on the inside front cover or anything like that?
No, we can't. It has to be somewhere inside. It'll take up a page,
Okay.
or it'll be, but the Prudential's so small this year that it'll work.
Okay.
And it's gonna have a border. I mean, the pre-press person fits it in,
Right, how they can.
yeah.
Okay. Anything else are you, thank you, Marianne,
I guess
for
not.
putting that together.
You're welcome. It's not done yet, but,
No.
we'll do the mailing. We got a new, the new copier came, and the guy showed us how to do the labels and stuff on it, so we're gonna do,
Oh, cool.
we'll do the labels, and then we'll we use the bulk mailer thing, and then we'll send it out, so, and then then my job there will be done.
And so, we mail them out, I know there's been different years,
Yeah.
we've done different things,
Well,
like,
if we could get them early enough, we could put a sign out and have people
Right.
pick them up, but it's always like,
last minute, yeah, okay.
Sometimes we give them to some people if
yeah,
they
like
stop
people
in,
can
like
get
some
it.
people will stop
And the
in, but then
select board,
we have
usually
stickers.
theirs,
Okay.
Just to save postage,
Got it,
save as many as we can.
okay. So are we good with that agenda item?
Yep.
Thanks, Marianne.
Yep.
Approved certificate of no appeals to the grand list, and who wants to explain?
It means we have no appeals to the state for an assessment on the property. If a person goes through the grievance process and does not come out happy, they can appeal it to the state.
Okay.
and there are no appeals, and we have to sign off on this every year.
Okay. So this isn't completely filled out. Is that
There's
something we
only-
need to do
Tim's-
tonight?
Tim's not here. Warren's at home. I'll be bringing it home with me, so he will be signing that, but I need the board to sign it.
So, but there's just a
Make
piece,
motion.
there's just a piece that, there's like, we hereby certify that on this date there are not any appeals pending from action of the listers nor suits pending to recover taxes paid under protest relating to the April 1.
Need she and put a date in there.
You're right, so should we fill that in now? Is that the April 1, 2022 grand list?
Yes.
Okay. Of Chelsea, Vermont. It's okay if I, okay. That wasn't a question what town we're in, that was a question if I should. And then it says, given our, under our hands at
Chelsea.
Chelsea in the county of Orange. This is like one of those Mad Libs or something, state of Vermont, this 31st day of January.
I thought she had that part filled out.
No, that's all right. I just wanted to make sure that we,
That could go so
sorry.
wrong.
Okay, and so we're just signing this saying that there's no appeals.
Yeah, but it's
And
official
there are,
work of the board, so you should probably make a motion.
okay. Is there a motion to approve the certificate of no appeal?
I make a motion to approve the certificate of no appeal to the grand list.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Cool.
Yeah, you didn't vote.
Oh, sorry. You can't just say cool after that and call it good. Still learning. All in favor?
Aye.
Cool isn't in Robert's Rules of Order. Sorry about
I
that.
just want to mail something to your teachers.
Next on the agenda was Thorn Road, Class 4 Road, Mr. Rice. And I don't know, Karen had sent us an email today.
Yes.
Does, I guess, in terms of being clear for the public record, should we read that so that everybody knows what we're talking about? I'm assuming. Does anybody else want to read it?
No, you're doing great.
So,
Just the
to give you a
words.
little background. Mr. and Mrs. Rice called and wanted to know if they could do anything to Thorn Road as they have purchased the property. So I researched that a little bit and said to them that we'd have to set up a time that they could meet with the select board, and they just want a time that they could meet and ask these questions to the select board. So the email is to the board, so you'll know what questions they want answered.
Okay, so we really don't need to take an action tonight.
No, it would be nice if you just set up a time and we could send them a letter stating we'd
Okay.
like to see you
Okay.
at this meeting.
You know what their time frame is?
I think
They're not living there now. I believe they've plowed it out once,
Yeah, it's been plowed a couple times.
yes. But they will be trying to work on it this spring, and the road is not up to par, which is another conversation for a future meeting with the board as to how they want to deal with Thorn Road. And I believe you should have Rick at that meeting.
Agreed.
I noticed that the policy said we held off after October 1st, but then it's like, oh, but when do we start again? I'm assuming they intended it to be in the spring.
Yes, they would probably be trying to work on it, getting people up there to work on it for them as well. So I would suggest setting up a meeting with them. It doesn't have to be the whole board. If you guys just want a couple there, then you don't have to call a whole meeting. You can just sit down with them. I sent you our policy on Class 4 roads as is, and a model policy from VLCT, because it's been a long time since that's been reviewed.
Sure. So does it make sense to read this just in case there's people listening at home, then they'll know what we're talking about, if that,
If
Makes
you'd like.
sense, okay. So this is an email from Rella Rice dated January 28th, 2023. Subject, questions we have on grade 4 Town Road. Good morning, my husband John and I purchased the old Thorn Farm property at 12 Thorn Road. Karen Latham thought it would be helpful to present you with questions that we have on the road as to what we can and can't do to make the road accessible year-round so we have access to the house. This can be presented to the board at some point for research. John and I would love to be put on the agenda at some point. No hurry, as we know the board members are all newly elected and have more important issues to tackle. Some of our questions are, will the town be taking care of Thorn Road now that we will be living / remodeling? Obviously, fuel trucks, lumber deliveries, and service trucks will need to access our home. We do realize grade 4 roads are not maintained in winter. Are they maintained, repaired in summer? Can a grade 4 town road be purchased, turned over to the property owner for the town, from the town state to become a private driveway? What are we allowed to do until we are allowed to come before the board for this discussion? I assume we can plow. Can we do some minor repairs to make it safe for service people? These basically are questions that you may present to the board for research when they have time. Thank you so much, Rella and John Rice. We do have a concern of fire trucks being able to access the house, as we know that a grass fire burnt down the former farmhouse and all outbuildings back in the 80s. The road needs repair.
I remember that, actually. Did we, because the town was involved in cleanup of damage done from trying to get to that fire. Do we know if anything was done? So nothing was done with that road at the time. We know it's a class 4 road still.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
class 4 road. You really have to talk with Rick. I don't believe we've been up there or done anything on that road in years.
Yeah. Okay.
But VLCT, I sent you an email that for a response that I received from them, said that they cannot do anything on the road unless they have an access permit.
Including plowing, right? Including plowing was.
I didn't get that detailed with them. And she was in the office today and I gave her an access permit because she requested one,
Right.
which is sitting in there for you guys. Again, historically, Rick looks at the place, makes a recommendation.
Yeah, it's because of the time of the year that I'm feeling like we're a little stuck with how to move forward.
Oh. These,
our
Karen, these are copies of
Yeah,
the
just
town
the
map,
map,
just so
so
everybody
you-
knows where it is.
There it is. I didn't know if she had it from the last meeting, but there's no. So I didn't talk to anyone in person. It's always nicer if you talk to somebody at VLCT, but they're very busy, so you always get an email. Maybe if one of the select boards called, members called, they would, talk to you personally about it. If you explain.
We could do if somebody could do a joint phone call with Rick as well, so that he's a part of that conversation right from the start.
I would definitely invite him and then do it from Gail's office.
With them and Rick.
And I guess it strikes me that we have time to invite them to be on the agenda for a future meeting, except for the question of, would we want to consider giving them an access permit just to plow it? Like, just condition it that,
They're gonna have to finish it. They didn't finish it all the way.
they didn't finish what, I'm sorry?
The access permit, she filled it out, I was
Okay.
doing something, she gave it to me. There's a part that's missing.
Right, I mean, I think there's bigger questions we have to answer on.
Nobody's living there right now. I
Right.
don't think is it being heated even at this point?
No.
It's just sitting there. So I don't think it's gonna burn down. Nobody's in it.
No, actually, they're trying to empty it, I think.
I think you're right, because she asked me what they could take at the transfer station.
So I guess the way oh, go ahead, Bill.
I was just gonna say, I mean, I think giving them an access permit to at least plow the road, I mean, that sounds pretty reasonable until we get through winter.
And then we'd put them on a future agenda, maybe to come to one of our meetings in a future agenda where we can invite Rick and we could have this conversation with them, is that?
Yeah. I have talked to Rick about this, but
You have? And does he have thoughts in terms of the plowing, do you know, or?
well, he says, if I recall right, he said he's only been up there once
Right.
since he's worked for the town.
So,
He didn't, he didn't have a lot of interest in plowing any extra roads at this point.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
well, right, well, yeah, they'd have to bring it up to state spec, but,
right, and I
you
think
know,
our,
in order
I know
for us
what
to
you're talking about.
and I think our policy,
I have the policy.
our policy says Class 4 roads not including trails only be maintained during June, July, August, September, and October to be passable for four-wheel drive vehicles only. Town maintenance will include bridges, culverts, and maintenance necessary to make the road passable during the months mentioned above for four-wheel drive vehicles only. So our policy is clear that we're not going to plow it.
But is somebody else allowed to plow it?
Right.
If he wants to plow it himself?
Right. And I think if they wanted to plow it,
well,
they would need a Title 19, Section 1111 permit to work within the highway right-of-way, and we would just, we could approve them to do that.
It says the property owner who wishes to build and live year-round on a Class 4 road shall maintain, plow that road in winter at their own expense under the supervision of the Select Board and the road foreman.
Okay.
But I believe the supervision and the select board and
Right.
the foreman would be signing that permit.
Right.
Right.
But, so, we could sign that and allow them to do that.
And my question is, with those permits in the past, has the select board signed those permits, or have we delegated that authority to Rick to sign off on those permits? Do we know?
I believe Rick
Says-
signed and a select board. I can go back in the old access permits and see what the latest
Okay.
one was.
So do we want to make a motion as it relates to at least the winter plowing? You know, kind of one of those things like contingent upon, you know, we would approve the allowing them contingent upon, you know, a conversation with Rick and, you know, the appropriate signatures on the permit? I don't know if I said
And a
that right.
complete, on a complete permit.
On a complete permit application.
So we would say what our intention was, if all that stuff was met.
Right. I guess I was just thinking if we made a motion to do this contingent on there being a full permit application filed, conversation with Rick that he doesn't have issues, and whatever the appropriate board signatures are, we wouldn't have to wait 2 weeks. Because it's just
So
contingent.
the permit would read for plowing only, though. Okay.
Well, that's up to us, I think, but it sounds like
that's
that
what-
would be reasonable at this
Do we
point,
have
right?
the permit? Do we have the permit here?
It's not complete.
But I just want to read
Yeah,
it.
I put it in there.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, did I?
So there's an application, there should be an application in there and a permit. It should
Oh, maybe I didn't go down.
Oh, yes, it's
Okay,
the
so
very first thing.
There's two places that are filled,
Okay.
so.
I'm sorry, there's 2 places not filled out, Karen?
I believe so. She just filled it incorrectly. So, road frontage of the parcel she didn't put in. And this should be, the whole road is 0.65 foot, 0.65 miles from the intersection of said town highway and whatever road it
So it'd be Pepper
intersects
Road,
with. So
right.
she didn't put that in, so I believe we could probably put that in.
We could probably just
Yeah.
we could just follow up with her and get that information.
I think it's left blank because it's not, there's not another intersection at the other end of the road.
No.
Because it
Oh,
would be.
I see. Yeah,
the
good point.
proposed access
So,
would be
Oh.
located at Thorn Road, not,
Right, there's nothing, it's dead end, so
yeah,
I
it
see.
it just peters out to nothing.
So what does everybody think?
the select board, when I look at what we do have for the permit, the select board would need to actually write up what the agreement would be, because this is to maintain said access and adhere to the directions, restrictions, and conditions forming a part of this permit, so we would have to write that up.
So this is actually.
Although we could with just
Oh, so
plowing
this
only.
is, okay, so this is the permit itself.
The last page is the permit itself, and you can put stuff in there if you want to read that to them.
Okay. So we would, so the way this, I can pass it around or just however you guys want to do it, but bottom line is, this is our permit, just we'd fill in the information and it looks like at the bottom, we'd say for plowing only.
Okay,
And that would be, and then we could have them come in and we could discuss their questions with them, is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's.
bigger conversation, yes.
And Bill, I didn't notice, who has to sign that?
Just says authorized town agent.
Okay. And, well, that's the question is, the question I have is, has the board delegated the
Different
town
boards
agent?
have done different things,
Oh, okay.
so it's up to what you want as board. And the next one, could you put 01 next to 23, because that will be our first permit of the year for there.
I sure can. I'm done. So do we have a preference on how we want to handle this at this point?
I think I would say at this point, and I really am just thinking that maybe, don't know if this is accurate or not accurate, but perhaps that we have not been consistent in what we're at when we ask people to fill out permits or not fill out permits. And I would suggest that we become consistent
Agreed.
in how we do that, until we have a full policy on who has, I think it makes sense for the road foreman in the future, but I don't know that we have any of that in writing at this point in time, and think that it should come from the board until we can dive into looking at what our practices are and how it's laid out and what we have for language to support that.
We can probably have a conversation with Rick to find out even how he feels about it, right? So at this point, it would be you're suggesting it would be a signature by one of us as board member.
I would suggest that right now, yeah.
So in this case, if there's questions on their application, and Karen, if you, I don't know if you spoke to him, if you would mind, do you mind
No.
doing this part, like just making sure that their application is right? We would fill out the permit, make it contingent upon, or make it, the restriction would be for plowing only. And tonight, we just make that contingent on making sure that Rick weighs in to make sure Rick doesn't have an issue with that. And if that's the case and we have a full permit, Karen can let us know, one of us can stop down and sign. Is that,
Yeah.
whoever gets here first, in the
Yeah.
race?
Yep.
Does that sound like a reasonable approach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want us to fill any of this in now on the permit, or
Just whatever you want them to be able to do.
the restriction? I can write it in, if I just said, for snow plowing only at this time, or something like that, because it seems like we may come back to this issue, but at least this allows them to move forward with plowing. So I'll give this back to you, Karen.
Okay.
Do we want to make we probably should make a motion, just to make sure that it's, is there a motion on?
Trying to think of how to form that. What's it called? Occasion. I make a motion to approve a full permit. I make a motion to approve a completed application for plowing only on Thorn Road. Did that cover everything?
For a highway access permit, I think
Highway
it's called.
access. Yes, thank
Per
you.
Rick's approval.
Yes. Per Rick's approval, or with Rick's approval.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Do we want to spend a minute just kind of talking about those questions? I mean, we've got more research to do, but I think they're broader questions than just the Rice's request. And we may not have all the information, but do we want to spend a few minutes talking about that? We don't have to. What do folks think?
Yeah, I think we should talk about it for a few minutes.
Okay. We have a policy, and it seems like that policy is pretty clear. And I've lost it. I had it. Oh, I had it because it was in the packet. Thank you, Karen. It is actually you. Because this seems to be a hot ticket item from time to time, and it's happening in other towns around us, I think, but and obviously there's an election coming up where there's 3 seats that are open, and the board may change some, although 2 are uncontested currently, but so it may still be the 4 of us. But I mean, do folks have issues with our class 4 policy as it's written? Do we want to just table this and come back to it?
I think that it probably needs to be updated.
Was last.
As an example, it says it's the general policy of the present select board to avoid reclassifying a road from class 4 to class 3. So there's things like that we should at least come back and revisit. The way it's worded is the present board, signed by Ken Colby, Ruben Hook, and Eric Anderson in 2009. Do we want to just put this on an agenda to come back to it at a later time? Do we want to talk about it? Are there things that folks want to discuss tonight?
I mean, we can come back to it. I mean, it's pretty clear. I mean, I think it's pretty accurate. We should just, I think the policy's pretty clear, and I think it's pretty accurate. We could just update it and reword things a little better, but, do we know if he has seen a copy of our policy, just so they understand it?
It's on the website.
Okay. Just because they had inquired about the possible purchasing of it, which, so I just wanted to know if they knew where to find it. I mean, I think we can table it and figure out when they are available to come in, and we can.
Interestingly, this is interesting. Any changes, addition, or deletions to this policy can only be made at a regular select board meeting during the month of July. So I mean, I guess we could talk about it, but we can't actually. I mean, yeah, I'm intrigued on the legality of that. But,
Pretty specific.
yeah, it's very specific, yeah. I'm assuming maybe the prior board was like, we're not gonna be making, this isn't gonna be an agenda item every month kind of thing, maybe is what they were getting at, like,
So would you like them to be on your next agenda? That's the 7th, a week from now.
I think that's why I was trying to figure out what their timeline was.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we have a couple other things to figure out, but maybe we don't.
Couple other things to figure out as in, like, other issues
We
or?
just-
we've got the
yeah,
purchasing policy, we've got
We've got the,
We've got a,
the administrative assistant, we've gotta get a highway position advertised, we got quite a few things.
Yeah.
So do we, John Parker has requested to
Correct.
be specifically at our select board, the first select board meeting in February, I'm not sure why, but, so maybe we would invite them on the 21st of February? Would that,
I mean, do we think it's pressing? Could we just put it off until after town meeting?
well, it might not be a bad
I
idea either.
think we have enough on our plate and it doesn't seem, we're giving them the availability to plow.
Well, and then we would have, then we would know who our board is.
Board is, and,
Yeah.
I mean, that's not that far off.
What meeting, yeah, and,
I can relay that to them.
yeah, I mean, if there's an urgency beyond that, and that they wanna talk to us before then, what,
then it would be closer to the ability to be able to even access it
Right.
and see what's there for a bigger conversation.
Yeah.
so we would put
If
them,
they wanna own the road themselves, you could do a discontinuance.
well, that's a big conversation.
I know it is. That's a.
I have a,
whole-
I have a personal strong opinion on giving up town rights away, but,
No,
Um,
I
yeah.
understand you.
I mean, that,
But
and
that's
that's
what-
just my opinion, but,
John has expressed, I'll just buy it if they want.
Right.
Okay, no, I don't think you can buy it.
right. Yeah, the discontinuance is just a discontinuance, there's no
Yeah,
dollars there.
they don't understand.
Our first meeting in March would actually be on town meeting day.
Yep, that's your organizational meeting.
So would we want to do it then? Or would we want to do it the meeting after that? I'm assuming we're gonna have town meeting, we're gonna have a
I think we
meet.
put it off until after town
Yeah.
meeting is
So it'd
over,
be
so.
March 21st. And if Karen, you talk to them and they have an urgency before
I
that,
will
then
get to you.
maybe we put them on the February 21st. But I like your suggestion, Lane, of it's after town meeting, we know who our board is. Is there anything else on this one that we want to talk about tonight? Do we want to put the Class 4 policy on our agenda for February 21st, just so that when the Rices do come, we've at least had an opportunity as a board to talk about and absorb the policy that we can't change unless it's July? So on the meeting for the 21st, we'll put Class 4 policy? Is that? Anything else on that agenda item? We had approve orders and then, oh, we also wanted to talk about, we had added to tonight's agenda, the town hall wiring. Karen, maybe you could,
Oh, we had just, a half an hour yesterday where it smelled in my office like there was wiring burning. We couldn't stay in the office. It was in the vestibule too. I called Lime Green Heat because I thought maybe it might have something to do with our new system. Mort came down. We inspected downstairs. He showed me how the whole system worked. We checked the wiring for that system. We checked the blower, which was still running from my office. And we checked all the electrical equipment in the office itself. And upstairs, we checked the panel, and there's another panel in back of the stage, and nothing had tripped. We could not figure out why this happened. And it was gone this morning. Of course, we opened windows, we exchanged air out, and I let Mark know that I did not see a problem with the system. It was still heating. We heated this here 2 hours early to see if there was going to be an issue. There was none. The library had no issue. We have some very old wiring in this building, and at some point we need to get it looked at. I'm not sure exactly who to get to do that. I do know not this year, but for next year, I need to have an outlet wire just by itself, a brand new wire for the tabulator, so we don't run into the problem we had this year, which was 2 things on an old circuit not drawing enough amperage because of old wiring. But in the future, I'd like to know what would you like done if something happens like that? Because we don't have any protocol as far as, should we call the fire department?
Probably start with that.
Yeah. But we sat here for an hour and a half and nothing continued, but it was immediately. That's why I thought it was the heating system, because the blower came on and so did the smell. And it didn't do it at all today. And I don't think it's our heater. I don't think it's our blowers. I don't know what it is.
So to Billy's point, in the future, the thing to do probably would be to call the fire department, because you guys got thermal imaging cameras and stuff
Oh,
like
that's
that,
awesome.
that you
Yeah.
could like make sure that there wasn't something in the wall that couldn't be seen, right?
Yep.
Okay. That's the first time I've ever smelled this in this building.
Did you get a new copy, or was that across the street?
That's across the street.
Okay.
Ours came 2 months ago, plugged in the same place it used to. We checked to see if everything was still working, because if a wire's gonna burn, nothing's gonna be running, and everything was still running.
It should trip a breaker or something.
It didn't. We checked both sets. I was surprised. I thought we'd find something. He said, did somebody kick something down? And it's like, we checked all around. Nobody had dropped anything into any of those returns. So we don't know what it is.
But it is something that we may want to look into having, obviously if it happens again, but it's happened. I don't know that there's anything we can do proactively right now,
I
but
don't know. I don't, except just
in terms of the immediacy, but we should maybe start having conversations about, to your point of its old wiring, start looking into,
If it's wiring, you're gonna want to schedule, because any electrician is scheduling way out.
right, right,
So,
Well, that's gonna be a pretty substantial project
right.
to get that done.
Well, yeah, to me, it's almost figuring out how to get somebody to do an evaluation of the wiring in the building. You know, do an evaluation, then maybe get an estimate, and, you know, I'm assuming, to your point, there'd be a fair amount of money, but if we decided to do it for a historic building, I gotta believe that there's gotta be some funding out there maybe to do that, but it kinda highlights that we should be thinking about it.
Right.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying that we shouldn't do something about
Right.
it, but it's definitely not gonna be a overnight fix.
Yeah. Do we wanna start looking at what resources there'd even be out there to do an evaluation? I mean, I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah, I've never heard of
Fire safety comes in and does,
They might be the first place to start, is ask
Right.
them,
Yeah.
we got an old building, we smelt smoke, and,
You could task Casey with seeing if there's a grant for that. There actually was something that came through, and it was something about historical buildings or something, and I forwarded that to her. There's also a file in there too, that when emails come, like, they come from the states or the feds, like, oh, we've got this money, it's for
Right.
this. And, you know,
Yeah.
that might be a
So are you
source.
suggesting a grant for the evaluation or a grant for the?
Task
ultimate?
Casey with finding something.
Okay.
Do you, I'm curious about the second exit, because we're actually doing, there's restoration money, right, for the balcony? And I'm really curious about the second exit for the balcony. And I think, exit? Exit, egress. Another way to come down the stairs. I was just really curious, how can we really have the public up there? And did we ask Fire Safety Division if, I mean, I'd hate to refinish up there and not be able to use it
I
still.
don't know what Casey has done.
Yeah.
So I don't know what phone calls she's
I'm just
made.
thinking that might be a good opportunity to have Division of Fire Safety come in and look at the building, be able to point us in the direction of who to go to for the wiring and what other, I mean, we were talking about an evaluation of the building. I'm thinking we could start with them and they would know where to point us to.
So should we invite Casey to our next meeting to have that conversation and, okay,
Isn't Casey our grant writer?
Yeah.
So,
I think you need to start.
I mean, I'm happy to call Division of Fire Safety.
Right, yeah, start.
It just puts me in an awkward position. It's like, it only happened in my office, but it's the whole place, and the most important records you own are in that office, in a 6-hour fire-rated vault.
right.
So you agree with having somebody come in and do an evaluation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
So do we want to start with Kelly or calling Division of Fire Safety, but also invite Casey at the, we have a grant? We have money for the balcony? Maybe I missed that.
I don't know if, I don't know if
fast.
We need to have
Actual-
Casey come in.
I
Okay.
don't know if it's definite or not. but
Okay.
I know she's working on it.
So we can invite Casey to our meeting on the 21st? Is that, and Kelly will call Fire Safety to learn what we can learn?
Yes.
I guess the only thing, if we invite her here, what are we gonna ask of her? I mean, we're not really gonna know what the results are of any sort of evaluation
Right.
until, you know.
Right.
Until that gets done.
I guess as much as anything was to learn what the discussion is even with the
Okay.
balcony,
Yep.
right?
I don't think it would hurt to have a conversation with her regarding other
Yeah.
grants. I
We
mean,
could
we
just
have to
put on the
talk
agenda
about the
grants.
ARPA money as well, because we
Right.
have to get moving on that.
Yeah.
Like, so I think just inviting her here to touch base on grants in general is probably beneficial.
Anything else on that one? Do we want to tackle the purchasing policy tonight? Because we had said maybe we add that on here if time allowed. It's up to how folks want to do it.
We do have to.
And we also have executive session, yeah. I know I haven't actually reread the purchasing policy since the first time we got it, but what is everybody's preference? Do we want to talk about that tonight or put it on a future agenda?
Karen, do you have an opinion? Did you?
I think you should wait and do
Yeah.
your more immediate concerns.
Okay. Do folks agree with that?
I agree.
Kelly, Bill?
I agree.
Yep.
Okay. So that's the end of our agenda, except for a potential executive session. Before we go into that, I just wanted to, because I don't know if Jeff will be back or not, so I just want to kind of recap the things that we wanted to put on the the February 21st agenda. I've got class 4 policy, and they wouldn't necessarily be in this order, but invite Casey to talk about grants. I'll just put town hall wiring update Kelly, you know, or Division of Fire Safety update Kelly, yeah. John Parker had requested, oh no, I said the 21st, this is the meeting of the 7th, sorry. We got a meeting again next week? Wow, it's been a lot of time with you guys. So John
wanted to be on.
the first one in February, right?
First one in
Yeah.
February.
So John, sorry,
Yeah.
let me rephrase, these are the agenda items for the 7th.
Yeah.
Bill, didn't you want to talk about the liability of the people doing stuff down at the sewer plant?
Yeah, well, yeah, I forgot to add that. Or tell
Would-
you to add that.
Which one, that would be the next meeting, but what is it, Bill? Just for an agenda item so that we can,
Well, I think just we need to talk about where the old town sand pit is and what uses that's gonna be used for and who can use it, and we've had some people just
got it.
use it and not say anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's up to you, but somebody approached you about
Yeah, about it, yeah.
the use of the land down there for storage and logs and other things, right?
Yep.
So, as a
Yep.
board, we just need to talk about it.
And you
Yep.
need to have highway mileage done.
Oh, yes. I'm not, what do we need to do for that? I mean, we haven't changed our mileage, right? I mean,
No, you haven't, but you have to fill it out and
Right.
sign it as a board and
Would-
send it to them before February 20th.
should we,
And I
invo-
checked with Rick and he said nothing's changed.
Nothing's
okay, so you
changed.
did
Good.
change, okay.
So you can just fill it out.
So highway, that was gonna be my next question, so thanks, Gail.
So you can just type the same mileage in there and bring it. What?
No, there might be an online form.
I know there is. I got this.
Okay. And then we'll just put town report on there because next week we'll have an update of where we're
Yeah,
at.
there might, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I don't know that we had an agenda item to build the next agenda, but
You should,
save, it'd be good to know what we wanna talk about.
you should make the warning for the informational meeting on the 7th, if you're not gonna meet again until the 21st,
Right.
just so there's enough time, because it should go out that week sometime.
Okay. Which I think we did tonight, but we'll make it official next week.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? Is there a motion to enter executive session?
I make a motion to enter executive session. Are we inviting Dan and
Yeah.
Karen?
Do we wanna invite
And are we,
Karen
and
and
Gail?
Gail?
Karen and Gail. Goodbye.
Is there a second?
Sorry, that was not a very good
Second.
one.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We will enter executive
Thanks for
session.
coming. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Nice to meet you.